Probably should have probably should have waited till I was done yawning to hit the play button. Whatever. Hey, what's going on, you degenerates of the lesser internet? Got a little story time for you today. Um, it's been a little bit. I've been meaning to pop up a video. Sooner. Got a couple of things, couple stories I got brewing. Thought I'd like to share. Um, Maybe I'll do another one shortly after. Um, I've been thinking about doing a story about my cats. Just a brief history of uh, the felines in my family. Just going from my first cat all the way up to the current shitties. I don't know, maybe that's dumb. Just want to talk about what I want to talk about. Just some stories and thoughts. Today, I got a little story for you. Kind of a feel-good story. It's a good anti-racism story. Um, I'm pretty sure I was the only one there in the situation doing a skin count. All right, so it's been about a week. I was gonna record, tell the story like that day or the next day, but things got in the way. So I live on this steep hill, and it's a very steep incline. It is about it. So I live at the bottom of a hill. It's fairly flat, and then it gets real steep. I gotta drive up it almost every single time I drive. Every single time I get in my car, it's because I have to go to the store, which is at the top of the hill, or I gotta get to the highway and drive elsewhere, which is at the top of the hill. So I'm always going up the hill. This hill is really long and very steep. There's different parts. The incline starts off like this, and then it's like this, and then it's like this in some parts. And it's horrible. It's horrible. I've seen people walk and ride their bike. You can't ride your bike up this hill. It's too steep and too long. You can, but only certain type of people could do it. Only those bike riders who are out there riding bikes all the fucking time, and their legs are literally like this fucking big, just muscle. I've seen them going up that hill. But only those types. Everybody else gets off their bike, or they're smart enough to just not do it at all. People rarely walk up it. It sucks. And driving up it is a thing. Driving up this hill is a thing. My car can barely make it up there. I got a piece of shit car. It's like I think it's a 93 Honda. Old fucking thing. Always taking it into the shop. And when I go up this hill, I got to get a running start. I'm going, I exceed the speed limit, and then I use my momentum to get up there. Sometimes, half the time, there's somebody in front of me, and if there's somebody in front of me, I hope there's enough distance that they could, get up there faster than I can, or by the time my car slows down towards the top, because if there's a car in front of me, usually what happens when I go up the hill, I'm going up it fast. I'm using my momentum to carry me up there, because just my horsepower alone, I could still get up there, but I'm going like 10 miles per hour. It's a 35 mile per hour stretch. So, there's cars behind me honking at me and stuff up the hill. And every single time I get up to the top of the hill and then my car goes faster, like it starts to flatten out towards the top, and I start going faster, and then when you're at the very top and it's flat, I start going again, and I'm going the speed limit. The cars behind me always pass me in anger. They're like, let's get around this asshole. Even though I'm going the speed limit, it's like, dude, do you see the car? I was chugging, trying to get up here, going slow. I'm sorry, but now that we're up here, it's good. And then they still get in front of me and all pisses. It's fine. I don't blame them. So that's this fucking monster hill. That's that monster fucking hill. And my car, like I said before, it is a piece of shit. I got to get a running start. Usually, if there's a car in front of me, it's going slower than me because I'm trying to get this running start, even if they're going like the speed limit. So I'll hit it and I'll zoom up there. I'll be going like 45 for about 5 seconds, and then it'll drop to 35, and then by the time I get up the hill, I'll drop to maybe like 25, and then it'll even out, and then my miles per hour will increase back up to 35. The whole again, keep in mind the whole stretch of the road, the speed limit's 35. Same thing when you're going downhill in reverse. When you're going downhill, you gotta hit the brakes constantly. A lot of people zoom down the hill and go like 50 in the other direction. Crazy hill, crazy hill. I hate it. It's what happens when you live in the Seattle area. There's hills and mountains, and it's very hilltoppy. And I live kind of down by the Sound. People are watching my videos like, what the fuck is the Sound? Puget Sound. Puget Sound. It's the sea. It's like an inlet. I live by the ocean. So if there's a car in front of me and I'm zooming up this hill, I'm going faster than that car. I'm gonna reach that car, and to keep from hitting it, I gotta pump the brakes. The moment I pump the brakes, I lose my momentum. My car slows down to a halt, and it's 10 miles per hour for the rest of the time. The rest of the ride up. It sucks. So the other day, I'm going up this hill. I gotta get that running start. I see a car way up there, and I'm like, I hope by the time I reach that car, I'll be going, my 35 miles per hour, and then I'll level off. I hope that car will, is far enough ahead that we'll get over the hump. No problems. I won't have to pump the brakes and go, an agonizing 10. So I see this car kind of way up there on the hill. As I approach, vroom, and I shoot myself up there. I'm doing it. Got Stacy in the passenger seat. And, I'm looking up at this car, and it doesn't seem like it's really moving. I'm like, I'm totally gonna fucking get to this car. And I go up, and I'm slowing down. I'm definitely going faster than this car. We're about halfway up the hill. He's going slow. I'm down to like 25, and I gotta hit the brakes. I've gotta pump the brakes so I don't hit them, and then immediately, I'm stopped at like 15. Usually at this point, this is me. This is the car in front of me. We're going up the hill. Usually what happens is I pump the brakes, and then we're going about I'm going about 15, and the car is usually going about 35. 30, it's uphill, and then they leave me in the dust. They go, because I'm back here going 15 and they're going 30, and then my 15 drops to 10 as we're going. Like, that's what happens. I come up on the car, and the car just leaves me in the dust. It's usually what happens. This time I'm getting there. I pump the brakes. I'm going about 15. And he's still in front of me going about 15. I was like, oh, he's having trouble. And then we're going 10, and he's just right in front of me. He's matching my 10. I'm like, oh, he's having trouble too. And then we're going like 5. We're slowing down, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on with this car? And then his car just stops on the incline. Fucking like this. It just stops. And then I stop, and oh my god, we're stopped on this giant fucking hill. I tried to go around him. I was like, is there enough space? Oh, this fucking guy. I don't want to be too mean. This fucking guy, though, he knew his car was going out, and he could have just veered off to the right or to the left or something like that, and he didn't. He just stopped in the middle, By the time we came to a full stop, there was already a car behind me. Full on fucking stop. He put his hazards on, and I went to go around him. So his car is like in the middle, and my car is like wedged way the fuck over. There's this big barrier in the road, and I'm in between the barrier and him, and there's barely not enough room for me to get through. I was like, fuck it. So I put on my parking brake, and I kind of lean out the window and I say, hey, you need some help? Obviously he did. I didn't, at this point, I didn't really know what was going on. I was just being selfish. I was in, self-preservation mode. I was just thinking about me, where I got to go, my wife in the passenger seat. I don't give a fuck. Let's just go. Get the fuck out of the way. That's the mode I was in. And then it happens. It just clicks and a switch hits in me, and I'm as my wife refers to it as, I turn into Captain Save-A-Ho. Every time someone like yells or someone's in distress, I'm like, hey, do you need some help? What's going on, buddy? My wife's always, especially if it's another woman, she don't like me doing that shit for other women too, understandably. I get into Captain Save-A-Ho mode. She's like, don't be Captain Save-A-Ho. I'm like, but they got... No. Let that bitch get raped. You ain't going out there. No. I don't care. She's just fighting with her boyfriend. No. So, Captain Save-A-Ho, I snap into it. I mean, you see me talking. You hear the stories I tell and everything. I'm very blustery, in your face, don't give a fuck. I'll laugh if I think something's funny in the most awkward times. I'm not politically correct, but then I'll snap into it and I'll be Mr. Captain Save-A-Ho. And so I snapped into it and I yell, hey, do you need some help? And his response was something along the lines of, So I put on my hazards and I get out of the car. And I kind of walk up to him. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? You need some help? This is an old Asian guy. Not that old. He looked a little rough, but he might have been around my age, maybe a little older. I don't know, old is different. Like 10 years ago in my 20s. I would have been turning 30, but 10 years ago when I was still in my 20s, an old person to me would be someone like in their 50s. Maybe someone in their late 40s. Now here I am, almost 40 myself. Old, 60 don't really seem old to me anymore. Hell, I'd fucking fuck a 60-year-old. There's porn stars that still look good at about 60. I know it sounds gross. You're like, oh, bro, there's so many of them out there. Can't you just do a little better? Yeah, but I like some of them. Nina Hartley cleans up pretty good. That Ryan Connor, she still looks good. Old is all relative. Old is all relative. So this guy wasn't 60 yet, but he was a little bit older than me. Asian guy. You could tell. Like I said, I'm not gonna be mean. It is what it is. This guy could have been anything. This guy could have been black. He could have been white. Could have been a foreigner. He could have been from Europe. Could have just been a Native American. Could have been a homegrown American. Doesn't matter. It could have been anyone having these car troubles. God knows my fucking car has troubles. So there's this Asian dude, and you could tell his reason why I say that like that is because his I know I get a little racial here, and I like to tell a lot of jokes and stuff like that. But jokes aside, reason why I bring it up in this case is because English wasn't his first language. You could tell it's his second language, or third, or fourth, or whatever. Like I said, it is what it is. And I asked him if he needs help, and the first thing he says was, I'm disabled. He didn't really say anything else. And I remember standing there blinking at him when he said that. Like, yeah, okay, we gotta get this fucking car out the road, bro. I'm trying to help you. I don't give a fuck. The first thing I thought is he was told to say that. I'm a detour just for a little bit and just talk about that real briefly. Because I'm part of the mental health community. Used to be a therapist. If you know a little bit of my history, so this sort of thing, is you know, it catches my eye. It's an interest. It always will be. I see it everywhere in movies and video games. I'm watching The Walking Dead. Me and my wife were on the last season that's currently on Netflix. So I think that's what, season 9. It's like a 22 episode season. We're watching it, and they're making this weird disabled push. They have a bunch of new cast characters on The Walking Dead, and they're all disabled. They're deaf and they're signing and shit, and it's like, y'all did not survive the zombie apocalypse for this long. You're not. You know, you're not. And they're gay and transgender or something. For like 2 seasons, I'm trying to figure out if this person is a dude or a chick. And finally someone refers to them as a her. I'm like, oh my god, thank you. And they have all these disabled story arcs. It's politics. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so I don't dislike disabled people. I just, you know, it's the media that's always pushing them to every. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. It's just ridiculous. It's in all the movies and video games that we watch and play and shit, and it's ridiculous. It's nothing against these people. It's against the corporations who are trying to create this narrative of how they're the forefront of society. That like every person, every neighbor, every friend, we're all disabled. And that is true. That is true to an extent. Um, Going through therapy, growing up in a group home, becoming a therapist, treating people. As I learned this earlier than most, but what you don't understand is we're all disabled. You don't seek therapy to get fixed. You seek therapy to better yourself. And at a certain point, you realize everybody's got problems. Everybody can benefit from, getting a little bit better and talking about things. Everybody can. No matter how well off you are, you could always benefit from a little therapy. So everybody isn't broken. Everybody isn't disabled. You don't seek therapy to get fixed. At the same time, everybody's got problems and everyone could benefit from that sort of thing. So when you realize that, and you realize everyone's kind of crazy on their own, there's not a lot wrong with you in comparison. You just have a different outlook on things. That being said, not everybody is, classified as disabled or should be classified as disabled. It's more of a window. If you're within this Overton window, you're fine. You're fine. If you have depression, you're not disabled. If you got, you know, anxiety problems, you're not a disabled person. You're a normal functioning person. You just, have a slight disability. There's functioning and there's non-functioning. Most of us are functioning. This guy was functioning, and I could tell English was his second language, and the whole reason why I'm going into this arc is because I really wonder, because I've been out of the game for a while, I really wonder, he's probably on a couple government programs. I live in a sanctuary city. It is what it is, the Seattle area. I'm sure he's going to some sort of appointment every week or every month. and he's obviously foreign. I am wondering to myself if the government tells him he's disabled just because he's foreign. Like, oh, English is your second language? Well, that makes you a person with a disability. That is the wrong message to send people. They are indoctrinating this man. And it really, really bothered me. This guy's having car trouble. I pull over. Mr. Captain Save-A-Ho comes up and tries to ask him, if he needs some help with something. And he yells at me in broken English that he's disabled. That's not helping. It's not helping me. I mean, I guess that would be like softening the blow if he's acting funny and is off-putting, and I want to know why. Instead of being distressed myself, I could understand. Oh, he's disabled. But I think that's just cruel and unusual to just classify someone as being a disabled person just because they're foreign. Maybe he did have some sort of crazy disability. Maybe he did. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. But he was kind of disconnected, and he was struggling to understand me. But just wanted to point that out. I noticed. So this disabled guy, this Asian dude, he wasn't that responsive. Like I said, I believe it was the broken English. I believe it was the broken English, not anything else. So I said, what's going on? Is car secure? You got your parking brake on and everything, so it doesn't roll back and hit me. At this point, I look back, and there's now 2 cars behind me. So it's his car, my car, and 2 other cars. There's 4 of us lined up here on this fucking hill. And I spend maybe 30 seconds asking him a couple of questions and trying to figure out what's going on, and he keeps mumbling and not being super responsive. And I go, okay, I'm gonna time for talk is over. Let's do something here. I said, all right, well, your car needs to. I'll help you move your car over so traffic could get through. We got to get through it, so I'm gonna push the car. I'm gonna get in position, and I'm gonna tell you to release the brake and push the car, and then put on the brakes when I tell you to. And I said, just turn it, start turning, and get over, and I'll help push the car. So I'm looking at this thing. The car wasn't particularly big or anything like that. It wasn't a truck or a van or anything like that. It was just a car, an older car similar to mine, maybe a Honda. I didn't quite catch the make and model. But I'm sitting here thinking I could push this thing by myself up this fucking hill. I wasn't pushing the whole car up the hill, just enough for him to get over. But brother, let me tell you, it is a car. And this hill got its own intro. I'm telling you, it is a monster. So, I get into position, I tell him to release, and I'm pushing as hard as I can. As hard as I can. I've been working out. I know I'm not a powerhouse, but, I've been working out. I've always had some pretty good upper body strength. I'm pretty... it doesn't really look all that great in the in the camera, but I'm telling you, there's an egg in here. I barely have any, like, that hurts, like, that's skin. I'm a fat motherfucker, right? I got no fucking fat under here. I got pretty good upper body strength, neck, shoulders. I'm in there. And I say, okay, release a brake, and he does. And I am pushing as hard as I can, and it is not budging. I'm doing all I can to keep the car from going backwards. And I start panicking a little bit. I'm like, what if I slip and fall? What if I can't do this? So I yell at him, put on the brake, and then he's not doing what I ask. And then I really start to panic. I'm like, this guy ain't fucking listening. Put on your fucking brake, bro. And he does. And I stop. And I know. And then here comes another guy, a black dude. And like I said, I'm probably the only one taking inventory here. Black dude comes up. I'm like, oh, thank Christ. The two of us could do this for sure. The two of us could do this for sure. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, just trying to help push this thing over to the side. And he's like, yeah, okay. He's got flip-flops on. He's got flip-flops on. I noticed because I'm pushing, looking down, we could see our feet. And so he had enough sense to fucking tell him to put it into neutral. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I don't know jack shit about cars. I've said that many times before. I'm not a car guy. I did not have the intuition to go, it should probably be in neutral. I don't know why he wouldn't put it in drive and try to fucking go while we're doing this, but whatever, neutral. So the two of us were pushing. And this guy's in pretty good shape. He's not a bodybuilder or nothing, but he's in pretty good shape. I'd probably say he's probably in better shape than me. Because he's black. Yeah. They got my cousin's boyfriend. They've been together for like 10 years. They're pretty much married. He doesn't work out at all. He doesn't work out. He's also 10 years older than everyone, too. He's like 10 years older than her. He's like 10 years older than her and like 5 years older than me. He's older. I remember I was like 30. He was like 35. 35, 40, 40, 45, He's a little bit older than everyone, and he's always been the odd man out in that sense. He don't work out at all, just at all, and he's just naturally in shape. He doesn't have to work for it at all. Just good genes. That's a super slave genes. Man, that bit us in the ass, didn't it? Hey, let's breed a bunch of slaves to be physically superior than us in every way. A couple hundred years later, you don't have to work for shit. He's just naturally fit. So, yeah, they're in good shape for sure. They're in good shape for sure. I don't know if this guy hit the gym or anything like that, but I could tell he was in better shape than me. So it's him and me. We're pushing this thing. He yells, "Put it in neutral," and then the car starts moving a little bit, just inches, and it feels like this guy ain't doing anything. And I'm yelling at him to turn. Make sure you turn, and he does. He's turning, and then we're turning, and then we're turning. And the thing is, the front of the car is turning, but the back of the car just kind of stays where it is. So he's turning, and then, we yell to straighten it out, and then he starts straightening it out, and then this is where the trouble is. It wasn't that hard turning the car, but then evening it out and going back up and just pushing it straight up this hill, that was the part. We start to turn and it gets in a position. It's not quite there yet, but as it turns to go to angle up, that is where the problems start. I start feeling like I was before. I'm giving it my all, and the car just ain't fucking moving. We start to slow way down, and I notice the car is leaking coolant. I see the green coolant going down the hill. And black guy, he had to go. I never got his name. He had to go and he had to switch shoes. He's like, I gotta put on my work shoes. So I go and I'm just holding the car there in place while he goes and does that. And he puts on his boots. He comes back with his boots, and then we're going again, and we're slipping in the coolant. We're not making any headway. It's just the two of us. At this point, there's like a line of 6 or 7 cars, and I start to panic again. It's like, I don't know if we could do this. I don't know if we're over enough. I don't know what's going to happen. And then, we're slipping, and then the car starts to go backwards. And he's yelling, brake, put on brake. And he's not fucking listening. And then to save the day, dun 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 dun, here comes a Mexican in between us. Like, I'm pushing, he's pushing, and then here comes a third guy. Well, just like in the movies, dun dun dun, and then the three of us, a black guy, a white guy, and a Latin guy. I think he was Mexican. It sounds like a fucking joke. Black guy, white guy, and a Mexican are pushing a car up the hill. It sounds like a joke, but no joke. And the three of us in the car starts moving, and we're helping this Asian guy out. And then the car straightens out, and they're like, "Okay, put it on brake," and he puts it on brake, and the car, and then the day is saved. We all felt good. I was fucking exhausted. Black guy was pretty exhausted too. Mexican guy, I think he was the youngest of us. I think I was the old man of the bunch. I think it was me, black guy about my age, a little younger, and then the Mexican guy looked like he was in his early 20s. Maybe just got off work, or what time? It was about 4 in the afternoon, so maybe he just got off work or something like that. He was wearing a construction orange jumper. Yeah, three of us came in and saved the day. It was pretty badass. I felt pretty good about everything. I was like, "Thanks, man." I was telling them, "Thanks, man. Good job." And they nodded, and we got in our cars and we fucking left. I was first in line there. At this point, everyone was waiting on me, so I just jumped in the car after saying thanks for helping out. Told the Asian guy, said, "All right, man. I'm gonna leave. We're leaving things be. Just good luck. Glad I could help." And hopped in the car, turned off my hazards, and then I continued to crawl up the hill at 10 miles per hour. And that was the story. That was it. That was it. It's not all that epic, but it was for me. I felt good. It was a good feel-good anti-racism story. How a bunch of people could come together and help out someone else, even if it was selfishly motivated on all of our parts. We needed to get through. I'm sure at some point someone could have jumped the barrier. The barrier wasn't that intense. It was just one of those elongated sidewalks that's like in the middle of a road where you like plant a tree or something like that, but there's no tree. I don't know. No one did though, but we got shit done. It took three of us. I know you might be thinking, well, you're just pushing a car. How hard could it fucking be, Turbo? That's why I gave the kill its own boss introduction. Because, damn. But we all came together. We all pushed this thing. I didn't know their names or anything like that. They were all friendly enough. Man, and then we were all slipping in the coolant. I don't know what was wrong with his car. It probably just overheated and the coolant went everywhere. It's not there anymore. That car ain't there anymore. He got help. I don't know how that happened, but how that went down, but he got help. I think we were on our way to the store at that point. My wife and I. Yeah, we went to the store and we came back home half an hour later, 45 minutes later, and we're coming down that same hill, and his car wasn't there when we came back down. So, he got help. Car probably just got towed. But that's the end of the story. I just thought it was a pretty good story. Nice feel-good story. Man, that hill is a bitch. I gotta go up it today a little bit later. I gotta go to the store again. I need coffee creamer. I haven't had my coffee yet, so I'm a little but I need some coffee creamer. I switched coffee creamers. I used to use that International Delight shit. It tastes so good, but it's basically soybean oil and oils, and it has artificial shit in it, emulsifiers. It's horrible for you. It's fucking horrible. And so I switched to the more expensive, more organic, just straight up creamer. It's got milk, cream, and sugar. No artificial flavors. tastes so much better and it's better for you. Just trying to cut down, and it has less sugar too. Just trying to cut down on the sugars, trying to cut down on the bullshit. Just trying to do a little bit better, and that's about all I have to say. I'm kind of dragging on at this point. Don't have much else to say. It's 35 minutes long, way longer than I would have. When I first sat down to do this video, I thought maybe it would just be like a 10-minute video, but I've drugged this thing on way longer than it needs, so I'm going to let you guys go. Going to be popping up a video on my main channel probably tomorrow, maybe the day after. I'll see y'all then. Keep on. Oh, no, this ain't my gaming. I was going to say keep on gaming, but this ain't my gaming channel. I have a gaming channel. IzTurbo1984. That's my main channel. I do long-form content on there, and I break it up into sections. Check me out there. There's a lot of like little anecdotes and stories on there, but if you want to consume some of my content, go ahead and check me out there. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace the fuck out.